What it do? Dream Team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with 4 things only normal in Germany. Before we dive into these 4 things, make sure you dive into that subscribe button, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. What we got?
I may have adopted a few German habits, but not for the reasons you think I did. Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are 2 Americans currently living in Germany with our baby, sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. When we moved to Germany 3.5 years ago, I immediately signed up to take part in an integration course at our local Volkshochschule. Now, if you don't know what a Volkshochschule is, I've talked about this in other videos in much greater detail, but the quick and dirty explanation is that it is basically a community school for adult education that doesn't generally give out academic degrees. And if you don't know what an integration course is, as the name indicates, it is a class to help foreigners who have moved to Germany integrate into German society. In this class, I learned German for 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and while learning the language, we were taught about various German cultural norms, traditions, and ways of life. Now, this class was
4 hours a day, 5 days a week, my God. I don't think I had an attention span to sit in the class no more. I think that's why I pushed through college. They told me I should take a break in college, take a semester off, because my grades started slipping a bit, but I picked them back up. But I was like, no, because if I take a break, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm getting all of this over with, got my bachelor's degree and said, deuces, and now I don't even use the degree. I just do YouTube, so. But I won't say it was a wasted 4 years like a lot of people say, because I had an absolute blast in college. I had a lot of experience and memories that I wouldn't trade for anything. So college was an absolutely amazing time. I just don't use the degree that I went for.
It's helpful for learning generally how to function inside a German society. However, outside of the classroom, I closely observed Germans to see more of the nuanced German way of life, and I started picking up random new German habits that I would have never done in the US. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today in my video. You can't have it your way. Don't mow on a Sunday. In last week's video, I talked about how I had it pointed out to me by a lot of you guys that I could officially apply for German citizenship because I had made an entire video in which I complained about the weather unironically. However, is that all it takes to be fully integrated into German society? I don't know. So as I go through these different new habits I've noticed I've picked up or have had pointed out to me that I've adopted, I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you do any of these things, and at the end of the video, let me know just how integrated I've become into German society on a scale of wearing shoes inside the house to wearing socks and sandals. One of the things our integration course definitely didn't cover as a rather...
I'd wear socks with sandals, honestly. If I was gonna, I don't really ever wear sandals, but if I was going to, I would wear socks because, I don't know, I like my, not that I got ugly feet, but I just don't like them being exposed just out. I just don't like them being out unless I'm swimming, if that makes sense.
A unique attribute that Germans for some reason display, but you will definitely experience rather quickly if you come to Germany, and it is sometimes referred to as the German stare. This is a massive shock for most foreigners who move to Germany and suddenly feel like somebody's watching them everywhere they go. And generally speaking, someone is. You find countless forums, articles, and YouTube videos online as people dissect this unique German habit and try and explain it. But in this video, I'm not trying to explain it because I've started doing it, and I'm going to give you why I have now started to stare at people and how I possibly am perpetuating the cycle. As an American not used to being stared at, when I moved to Germany and started getting stared at, for example, as I walked around town, my first tendency always was to look away and try to ignore the stare, or it was to glance back at the stare sheepishly multiple times to see sneakily if they were still staring. I would maybe also try and rush to a mirror to see if I accidentally did something to make myself worthy of a stare, like having lunch stuck in my teeth or wearing my shirt backwards. backwards, but there generally wasn't ever anything I felt was an obvious reason I was being meticulously studied by Germans on the street. That is when I decided from now on, I'm going to stare back at starers so they can feel what it feels like to be stared at. So I haven't adopted the habit of staring at people possibly for the same mysterious reason that Germans seem to have for staring at people, but for sure, if you stare at me, I now have no qualms about staring right back and entering into a staring battle. To be honest, I don't know how effective it has been, because where if an American is caught slipping and staring and someone looks back at them, they will generally panic and look around and try and play off that they weren't ever looking at that person in the first place. However, when I've started staring back at Germans staring at me to try to get them to feel uncomfortable and stop staring, they don't actually seem to mind and continue staring until they are satisfied with their stare down and move on. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if Germans realize they are doing this. So let me know in the comments, are you a conscious starer, or do you do it without thinking and think you don't stare? Because let's be honest, if you're German, those are your two only options, because you definitely stare at least sometimes.
I gotta know. So if it's that you do it without thinking, I understand. You just it's just something you do, something you grew up doing, I guess something. But if you consciously stare at someone, why? What is the reason for the stare? That's what I gotta know. Y'all gotta let me know in the comment section. Why stare? If you consciously know you're doing it, it's an unconscious thing. It's just like a force of habit or something you do. Then it's understandable. I wouldn't do it, but I didn't grow up that way. Like he said, Americans, we notice someone, or if we looking at someone and they look back at us, we tend to look away, look off into the distance. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable being stared at. I'm like, why are they staring at me? They planning something? What's going down?
I want to take a second to thank all of our patrons over on Patreon and our YouTube channel members for supporting this channel. You make it possible for me to keep bringing you new content, and I want you to know how much it is appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind hitting those like and subscribe buttons, that would also be another great way to support our channel, and I would really appreciate you doing that. A few evenings ago, we decided to have a lovely dinner on our back porch when all of a sudden, a neighbor behind us started up their lawnmower. As I sat there trying to enjoy the outdoors with my family, I found myself growing more and more enraged that my neighbor was doing one of the 7 deadly German sins, mowing their lawn on a Sunday. And this is another new habit I have picked up since living in Germany. I now get mildly annoyed or mad when these societal rules like not creating disturbing noises on Sundays or holidays are broken. However, I do want to point out how my anger about this may actually differentiate from my German neighbors who are probably also raging inside their homes preparing a note to warn the neighbor about their horrific actions. Where a German might be upset by the noise and utter disregard for the rules, I get less upset about the noise, but actually more about the fact that my lawn hadn't been mowed for 2 weeks because of rain and family visiting, and then the 2 days I could have finally gotten my yard back in tip-top shape before I have to leave town are a Sunday, and then the Monday was a holiday, so I can't mow because of the no noise rules on these days. Now, the next time I mow, the grass is going to be so long that my electric lawnmower won't be able to handle it and will require multiple days of mowing rather than a few hours, as I will have to keep stopping to recharge batteries. Yet, somebody else is completely disregarding the rules and getting done what I need to get done because they are seemingly less scared of getting confronted by an angry neighbor than I am. Or they are just new here and don't know the rules yet. Either way, I wanted them held accountable, and not a single German neighbor actually said anything to them. And as an American who fundamentally believes people should actually be allowed to mow on Sundays, I can't go and get onto them myself, but I guess that's what the Ordnungsbehörde is for.
Nah, he mowing on Sunday, I'm mowing on Sunday. No, he already making loud noise, so I may as well go ahead and get my lawn mowed. Cause if I gotta wait to get back, and it's gonna take a couple of days rather than a couple hours, nah. I would understand if nobody's mowing. Cool, I follow the rule. If he break the rule, then I'm gonna break the rule, cause it's gonna be loud noise anyway. So I may as well knock out what I need to get knocked out. That's just how I feel about it. That's how I would go about it. That's just me.
4. In a recent video, I talked about unique noises that Germans make that Americans don't make. One thing I talked about was an interesting word or noise that Germans use at the end of many of their sentences.
But you wanted to go eat, gell?
Yeah, this sound or word actually varies widely across Germany, as some regions may say ge or gel, some may say ne, or some may even say va, among many others. But the meaning is basically all the same. It basically means in English, right? Or if you're one of our Canadian friends, A. So for example, soccer is a better name for the sport rather than football, right? The only difference is Germans use this word or sound far more often than Americans would say something like right at the end of a sentence. Well, that is until I moved to Germany. As I have learned German and started speaking more and more German, I have noticed that the line between my German and English has become more blurry, and things I do or say in one language is starting to bleed over into the other. And one thing that Aubrey called me out on as a quirk I have picked up that I didn't really notice myself, and for example, is that at the end of a majority of the sentences I say in English, I for whatever reason now throw in a ja. So I would sound like ketchup definitely is the better sauce for French fries over mayo, yeah? This is different from...
Does that even need to be said? Mayo sounds absolutely terrible to dip your fries in. Yeah.
From the ne or gel that I mentioned Germans say at the end of their sentences, although you do sometimes hear them also say ja. But it is just my, I guess, weird combination of German and English where you wouldn't really say it all that often, but you can say a more English sounding yeah at the end of a sentence, and I do more of a German sounding ja instead, and to an English speaker, it really does just sound fairly unnatural. But for me, it's just a habit I got used to doing. So since a vast majority of my viewers aren't native English speakers, and therefore I know you speak at least 2 languages because you're watching this video, I would be interested in knowing if you do anything like this when you speak. Do the multiple languages you know bleed into each other in any specific way you've noticed, or has someone else called you out on any kind of weird habits like this that you've picked up? We actually currently have a steady stream of family visiting us from the States for about 2 months back to back. When our family visits us from the US, we have realized we have to start to do sort of an orientation course to how German homes work because of how different they are to American homes. The orientation course to our house includes showing them how German windows and shades work, how they need to air out a bathroom after showering, or how radiators work. But the most important lesson is how to separate trash. Trash separation is a very popular topic for foreigners moving to Germany because it can be extremely complicated for someone not used to it, as indicated by our 33-page guidebook to separating trash our town has created.
33 pages? God! Yeah. That's a serious thing. 33 pages dedicated to separating trash.
And for some of our family coming to visit us in Germany, I will admit they have never separated any trash in any form of recycling where they come from in the US. So the German recycling system can be a
I feel ashamed to say that I am one of those that I've never separated any type of trash.
Bit overwhelming at first. However, we also have family who do come from parts of the US where recycling is commonplace, but the German system can still be overwhelming purely because the separation of trash is done differently from what they are used to doing. Because of this, as we expect, sometimes trash doesn't always make it into the correct bins, and I have found myself doing something I would have never done in the US.
What's that?
And that is digging through the trash to separate it correctly. Now, if someone accidentally throws a candy wrapper into our Restmüll, I'm honestly not going to fish that out and put it in the plastic bin. But if I see a fond bottle, I will be digging that out of the plastic bin and making sure that it is taken back to the grocery store to receive our deposit back. And this has happened multiple of times. Our family is of course thinking, okay, I gotta throw away this bottle and this bin is labeled plastic, so this must be where it goes. Not realizing that Germany does have plastic bins, but then they also have plastic and glass bottles that need to go back to the grocery store to receive the deposit that was paid on that bottle. Now, I don't know if this is me adopting the German habit of frugality and money saving, that I won't even let 25 cents go to waste when a bottle with fond accidentally gets thrown away, or if this is me adopting a slightly more strict adherence to trash separation rules like a true German, but either way, here I am sticking my hand in the trash where I wouldn't have before to get back a few cents.
Yeah, it's probably the German frugality. That's what it would be for me. I'd be like, hey, I need that 25 cents. It adds up.
See who made it this far into the video. The random question of the week is... which social media is the worst social media? Thanks so much for watching, guys.
That's what I was like. Which social media is the worst social media? Twitter.
Guys, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you in our next video. Also say yeah at the
that's all we got for this one. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. It's your boy D Neal. Out.